And now, a Rob Brown lowdown, only on the Fan Upstate.
As we wind down the college football season, as we wind down the National Football League season, that means one thing and one thing only. Hockey is metaphorically heating up. It's a hockey segue.
Yeah, and where's the horn, dude? I mean, you know.
I got to introduce.
Do I need to get the horn? Do I need it over here?
I got it.
Okay.
But I gotta set up our guest.
I'm gonna find my own horn because, you know.
Listen. A great alley-oop is an art. All right? A great alley-oop is
I'm
an
well
art.
aware of that. I alley-oop to you all the time.
Flipping the apple across the face and allowing Binetti to hit the one-timer through the back of the net. It's an art to that. But now I just got to jump right in. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, the Upstate's hockey team, the legendary Mark Binetti, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. Binetti, you handsome devil, you. How the hell are you, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. And you know, Rob, in some instances, it's great to see an awesome setup and a brilliant flourish of a pass. But every now and then, you just got to hammer down and go straight to the net. So, you know, certainly I know what you were trying to do, introducing the horn, introducing me. But, you know, sometimes you just got to crash the net. Good things happen.
Mark Binetti joining us here on the show. Where are you right now, pal? Down in Orlando, an unfortunate OTL to the Solar Bears, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Are you on a bus right now?
No, I'm actually sitting in the lobby of a hotel in your favorite city in America.
The butthole of America, Jacksonville, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, Binetti, I am so sorry. I hope that the hazard pay is worth it.
Listen, it could be worse. I could
not
be
much.
Stuck anywhere else in this league that I have not really gotten along with over the 12 years I've been in it. So, you know, I certainly take this with a grain of salt over anything else.
Between you and me, because nobody else is listening, what's your least favorite place to have to go?
You know, back in the day, it used to be Brampton. The only redeeming quality about Brampton was they had Tim Hortons. But I did not necessarily like going there. Also, when I was with the Rapid City Rush and we'd go to Brampton, it was a 30-hour bus ride. So that probably didn't help my perception of it. But and then like only 200 people would show up to the game. So it was certainly a unique time, no doubt about that.
I think I would have been sick a lot before I took a bunch of 30-hour bus rides.
It certainly built up character. I don't miss those days necessarily. I do miss the camaraderie that was created on those bus rides. Just a lot of stories swapped, and you know, obviously you get to see the scenic route of where you're going. But it certainly added a degree of difficulty to how we got around.
All right, let's talk a little bunny hockey here on the show with Mark Binetti, voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. And I think to get to where we are now, we got to take a look back, Mark Binetti, because we missed you over the Christmas break. The end of 2024 was not kind to the Hoppers. They dropped 5 consecutive to round out the month of December, including a couple to Jacksonville at the crib, couple of roadies as well there. Then we turned the calendar into January. Started off the month of January with a couple of good ones, a win over Orlando, a good win over Jacksonville, 5-4. Where was this team at the end of December, and what caused that little bit of a trip up there, and what are we trying to change in January?
So the team was really banged up at the end of the month, and we're still technically pretty banged up. There was some illness passed around. It's that time of the year where everybody's got something. Because we're always together, you're passing it around. So it's one guy has this guy's got that. And so obviously it's not conducive to playing your best hockey because you're just not physically in your best shape. So that certainly hurt. Going into Savannah, the team played 2 guys shorthanded. Coming back from Savannah, they would play 1 shorthanded here and there, game time decisions because of illness and stuff. So that certainly didn't help. I mean, at the end of the day, there are teams that still find ways to win, and it's not that the Swamp Rabbits team didn't compete. It's just everything that could have happened at once. And so you're in a tight one on the road against Savannah prior to the holiday. You drop that one. 6-3 doesn't tell the whole story because it was a 2-0 Swamp Rabbits lead. They battled back to tie it at 3, and then 2 net front redirects, seconds apart. That was all she wrote there. You come back, Jacksonville comes spirited. They've got a full lineup. They beat you 3-0 in a game where, again, the final score doesn't tell the story because it was a goaltending duel throughout. You then battle to a 2-2 tie in the third. Game 2 against Jacksonville. They eventually power through, win 5-2. The Norfolk Admirals come to town, one of the highest-powered offenses in the league. A 2-0 lead. They find a way to score 7 in a row. They win 8-3. But then the Swamp Rabbits now start to get healthy. They get reinforcements. You get Caleb Lawrence. You get Quinn Olson. You make a trade for Chandler Romeo to shore up the back end. And all of a sudden, you're on a 3-game point streak. And it's because you're playing the right way and you're starting to get healthy, both through illness and through actual injury and whatnot. So, the team's put together a heck of a road trip thus far. Yesterday, I think they deserved a better result, but you take a point when you can get it, especially at this time of the year. 2-1 the final last night in overtime, which is just a tale as old as time against Orlando, because even going back to the playoffs, 7 out of their last 11 games have gone past 60 minutes, and Orlando has won 6 of them. So, it's unfortunate. It really is. But, at the end of the day, that's a big point gained, and we still have yet to suffer a regulation loss in 2025.
This is one of those interesting spots, Binetti, that it can be hard for some people to track because you do have a ton of transactions. You've got guys coming and going from Ontario. You've got to make moves to fill that roster spot. Then you start to add in long-term injuries, guys like Ben Freeman, who's been dealing with that wrist, Max Coyle, who's been dealing with the foot, et cetera, et cetera. It makes for very interesting times for a guy like Kyle Mountain. How has, in your opinion, Mountain been about kind of keeping track, about trying to keep this roster together and on the same page to get through what I think might be the most difficult portion of the calendar for any lower-level professional hockey team?
I think he's done a phenomenal job, honestly, because and I think you look to the transaction that he made to bring Chandler Romeo in, the rookie defenseman, huge 6'6", 220-pound moose on the back end, swapping out Patrick Moynihan with the Idaho Steelheads. Obviously, Moynihan dished the puck out well. He was a half-wall guy on the power play, somebody with a ton of skill and tenacity. And, you don't necessarily like giving up offense, but at the end of the day, he recognized that there was a need, that the team had to shore up the back end. And Chandler Romeo, I personally think, has done a phenomenal job through 3 games in his Swamp Rabbits tenure. And I'm excited to see him make his home debut this weekend when South Carolina and Savannah come to town. So I think he's done really well with it. And also too, it's the surprise factor of it. Not necessarily call-ups, but guys that are game time decisions because they're not feeling well. Guys that get bumps and bruises because they're playing the toughest division in the league, and you always have to have your head on a swivel with, okay, can I trust this guy into the lineup? Can I swap this person here? How do I mix and match these combinations? Or how do you find talent to come on up and get a job done? And then I look to how he found Mason Emoff from the SPHL's Fayetteville Marksmen, and the guy has 5 points in his last 3 games, and he's on a line with Arvid Kataroff and Brent Peterson, and right now they're driving the bus for the Swamp Rabbits in 5-on-5 offense. So, I think he's done a very good job with it. But again, you also realize, too, that you're playing in the toughest division in the league. There's no easy night, so no matter who you bring in, it's going to be a battle no matter what. But the team so far has risen to the challenge through 3 out of 4 games in the road trip, and they're going to anchor it tonight against Jacksonville.
Mark Binetti, voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. How much has, and I know we've talked about him before he got dinged up, but how much has the loss of El Capitan Ben Freeman impacted this team?
Well, it's certainly huge because that's a physical presence. It's a vocal leader. It's also your number one draw man, right? He plays penalty kill. He plays net front power play. And it's a guy that just his presence out there does a whole bunch. But that's where, again, I look to a Miles Gendron and a Brent Peterson, 2 guys wearing the A's. And it's not just Ben Freeman being out here, Rob. You got to remember, Joe Leahy also wears an A too, and he's been out for an extended period of time with an upper body injury as well. So a leadership load that normally falls on 4 guys on the ice now falls on 2. And Brent Peterson and Miles Gendron have done a heck of a job in leading this team and being more vocal and rising to that challenge. It's also leadership by committee, too. You've got guys leading by example in that room as well. Starting with Brent, he's got goals in 3 straight games, and he was brought into this team with a trade within the division and an extra partner in a 3-way swap for offense and for goal scoring. And the guy strung together his first 3-game goal streak of the year. He's responsible for getting the point last night in overtime because he tied it in the second period. But then you look to a Mason Emoff who has the opportunity in this league to now make an impact and be on a team and get an opportunity from the SPHL, and has 5 points in his last 3 games. He had 2 goals, 2 assists, and then a helper last night against Orlando. So, it's by committee. You see him stepping up. You see Colton Young starting to put together some offense. Dryden McKay stepping up between the pipes. Jacob Ingham putting together a couple of quality starts here. So, it's everybody's taking that onus of, all right, we're without the man wearing the big letter on his chest, so this is a team effort, and it all starts with us in the room.
We are talking to Mark Binetti, voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. All right, let's take a look at what we got coming up, Binetti, because what a home weekend after this roadie wraps up this evening on the road at Jacksonville. We open it up on the 10th. The South Carolina Stingrays come over to renew the rivalry for Stick It to Cancer Night, which is, as somebody who, I lost my father to cancer when I was just 25, an incredibly important night, an incredibly special night, and a great way to spend a Friday at the well.
Absolutely, Rob. It's one of the most emotionally charged nights of the year. And this is such an insidious disease. And to the point that you just made, we all know somebody who knows somebody who's been affected by this disease. And so this is just our way to try and do our part in what seems to be an ongoing fight against cancer that I eventually do believe one day we're going to win it overall. And we're going to eradicate this thing. But we need everybody's help. We need the community to rally together. The team's going to wear lavender jerseys on Friday. They'll be auctioned off with proceeds benefiting the Bon Secours St. Francis Foundation. Throughout the entire night, we're going to recognize those who have fought and those who continue to fight this disease. And we'll also recognize survivors of it. And we'll honor the 10th anniversary of the St. Francis Cancer Center here in our community. So a lot of very emotional things going on that night. And it's one of those nights, too, where we consistently say that we're a community partner before we're a hockey team. And it's one of those games where hockey does, yes, you want to win the game. You want 2 points. There's a lot of emotion, but sometimes you got to take a step back and realize there are bigger things that happen, and this is one of them.
Without a doubt. Then on Saturday evening, we got a 2-gamer that starts off against the Savannah Ghost Pirates. And what a heck of a night, because country music superstar Chris Jansen going to perform an on-ice post-game concert that is included with the cost of the game ticket. I'm going to tell you right now, Mark Binetti, there ain't much I love more than a little hockey and a little country music on a Saturday night.
I'll tell you what, I've never seen anything like this before. I know a few hockey teams have done it previously in the American Hockey League and in the ECHL. I'm jacked for this one. I've been jacked up since we figured out we were going to do this night. And a special thanks to Chris Jansen for wanting to be a part of the event and want to be a part of the festivities. He's going to rock out after with his hits, Buy Me a Boat, Good Vibes, Fix a Drink, and his new top 30 hit, What You See Is What You Get. So I'm really excited for what he's going to bring after the game. Of course, the Swamp Rabbits have to bring the energy well before that, which I have no doubt that they'll do against the Savannah Ghost Pirates team, who they've bested the last 2 times they've had them at home. So exciting to see what that is going to bring into Bon Secours Wellness Arena. But that's going to be a tough 2 games against a team that's flirting with Atlanta right now for that last playoff spot. And look, still a little bit more than half the season to go here, Rob, but now we're going to start scoreboard watching, and this is where your head-to-head matchups in the division are critical. So 2 gigantic games coming up against Savannah.
Without a doubt, as it stands right now, looking at the standings across the South Division, Greenville currently checking in 10th points, 10th in points right now, just a handful back behind Orlando. It's going to be an interesting next couple of runs. Mark Binetti is the voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, kind enough to join us to talk a little local hockey on a Wednesday morning. My man, be safe. Get the hell out of Jacksonville ASAP, and we will see you at the Well Friday, big dog.
I'll most likely be departing at 10 o'clock tonight, so please pray for my soul as I continue this arduous path here. But nonetheless, should be a fun night. Try to close out this road trip and go 3-0-1.
Tell the boys not to take it to overtime because, another 20 minutes in Jacksonville is 20 minutes too many in Jacksonville.
I wish I had direct impact on decisions like that, but that's just the game of hockey sometimes. Look, they clawed from behind the other day to get that huge second point, so whatever it takes, Rob, I'm excited to see the showdown tonight.
Mark Binetti, voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. You'll hear him on the action tonight and back on the bike at the well on Friday night when the Rabbits make their return for Stick at the Cancer Night. Chris Jansen in the postgame concert on Saturday, and Binetti will be on the call.
The Rob Brown Show. Get Rob at thefanupstate.com.